There we go. Whoops. Okay, so why we figure I remember. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here we go. Valeria, if you're just now joining us, we are doing 3.2 ratios and proportions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this to you. You pause and write it down because we got to keep moving. Ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division and is often expressed as a fraction. Example, teachers to students, and it's written like this. A rate is a ratio comparing numbers with different units, as in feet to yards or hours to seconds. And a unit rate is a rate in which the denominator is 1. I'm going to be showing lots of examples for all of this. The first one that we're currently doing, I see, and this is going to be hard. Okay. I've zoomed in so big. Okay, so Valeria, here's the example. A school of 312 students has 168 girls and 20 teachers. This is an example of a ratio. Make sure you see that. It's an example of, y'all need to make sure y'all write that too. I'm going to have to write a little bit smaller. Okay, y'all have that? Okay, this is the information they give you. We're going to do A. What is the ratio of girls to students? You didn't miss much, Keith. Okay, so we're doing what's the ratio of girls to students? So how many girls do we have in the school?
168.
So we're putting that right there where the girls are. And how many students do we have?
312.
Very good. Now, all you do is reduce or simplify, whatever you want to call it. And raise your hand if you can tell me the correct answer. Yeah, reduces as far as you can go. Find a number that can be divided into the top and bottom number as far as you can go. And then raise your hand when you've got it. Miranda? Okay. Well, pretend like this is the information your book gives you, okay? And then they ask you, what's the ratio from girls to students? That's not me just pulling it out and everything. That's a good question, okay? So do y'all understand? She was like, how did you know to write girls students? That's like the question that would be in your book or your quiz or your test. What is the ratio of girls to students? All right, Chap, you got it?
I think I got 21 over 39.
Someone got anything different?
I
Morgan?
got 4 over 151.
No.
I got 21 over 39. Is it wrong?
I got something different.
That's what it said.
New?
7 over 13.
7 over 13.
Oh yeah, because you can divide by 3.
7 over 13. That is reduced as far as it can go. That would be your answer. Do y'all see where we get this?
Yes.
Matthew, do you understand? Yeah. Well, you're in a different spot now, so I'm not sure. Okay. Let's do another one. How about if the question on the test or book or whatever is what is the ratio of boys to students?
Boys to students.
Now, they didn't say anything about boys up here, did they? Right? So we've got to figure it out. How can we figure that out?
There's not going to imply that though.
Imply what?
That there's-
Well, yeah, because if there's 312 students, that's right, you
I'm
subtract.
finding-
It's 144.
You subtract
It's
3
144.
And then Sam, what do you get for boys?
You subtract, you get 144.
You subtract all your total students and the girls, and that gives you how many boys are in the school.
And now we need to
So,
simplify.
For Ons, you need to raise your hand.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. Now, you simplify or reduce. Raise your hand when you get it. You're not gonna try this time, Chad? What are you thinking?
I was happy, but I'm not.
Okay.
Shame we couldn't reduce it all the way.
I think I have it.
Franz?
12. Well, 26 is on the bottom, 12 is on top.
No, it can go
Wait,
further. Wait, Keith?
Is it 18 or 39?
No. Hold on, I wanna get, I'll do Franz. Wait.
6, and then 13 on the bottom.
6 and 13 on the bottom. Now, ratio can be written. In fact, I'm gonna write that down. Can be written as 6/13 or 6/13 or in fraction form 6/13. So any of these, and sometimes your book will say write it in fraction form, write it with the colon, write it using words or something like that. I don't care. I have students that won't read directions and do it their way. I'm probably not going to mark it wrong. If you understand how to do ratios and you just chose one of these other ways to do it, I pick my battles. Y'all have this down? Matthew, you got it? Sam, you got it? All right.
For the PSAT administration thing,
Shh, we're not talking about PSAT now. Okay, here's another example. We're going to do some converting. And this is an example of rate. Rate. Okay, so let's say the question in your book or your test or something like that says convert 28 feet to yards. So we're going from feet to yards. And yes, I know some of you can just do this in your head. There is a proper way of doing it. You choose as to whether you want to follow it. As long as you get the right answer, I don't care. If I start walking around and y'all are getting the wrong answer, I'm going to make you do it my way. 28 feet. We're going to convert it to yards. Put it over 1. My 8th graders from last year, do y'all remember this?
No, I don't think so.
More than
This actually isn't, it's actually not fractions. I'm talking. You probably will actually, is this working? Okay. You'll probably actually enjoy this more because it's not really fractions. It just looks like it. There's not going to be any common denominators, anything like that, probably for the entire chapter. All right, so we're converting it to yards. 1 yard equals how many feet?
3.
Now, those of you that had me last year, remember how we had to have the same, what is that, like label, and it has to be catty corner. It has to be opposite, because what we're doing is we're canceling those out. You're left with yards now. We got to cancel out and get rid of feet. So you have 28 feet on top. You're going to put the feet on the bottom so you can cancel out. You multiply across. 28 times 1 is 28, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now, with this,
Can't you just run 6?
why 6?
That's the answer, right?
No.
There's like
This, I allow calculators. In fact, for pretty much the entire chapter, y'all are gonna be able to use your calculators.
it's just 9.1.
It is 9.3
3.
yards. Maybe I won't let y'all use calculators.
Time out though. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 1 is 23.
That's not how it works.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's
You
nine-
keep putting that remainder.
Yeah, it's 9.3 because it'd be 3 it's continuing, right?
Why would you
The cowboy goes into the house.
Why can't we just?
The horse goes on the outside. 3 goes into 28 how many times? 9 times 3 is
27.
subtracted, we get 1. Decimal, 0, bring it down. You don't just stick 1 up here, the remainder. How many times does 3 go into? 10. 3. Y'all see what I'm doing now?
It's
And then we just round to 9.3.
so you can just round. You don't have to put the line.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're taking out the feet, why do you still have 3 and 28?
Because you're taking out the label, not the number. You don't remember this from last year?
I remember it, but I also forgot it at the same time.
That's fine.
I recognized it, but I didn't remember.
Most of this stuff you can just whip out your phone and Google anyway. But you gotta learn how to do it. Sam, stop singing.
That was definitely me. I was humming.
Okay, I thought,
You always think it's Sam right
because he is always singing.
Okay,
Is
I
that such a
received
bad
that,
thing?
but I can't.
means he's
Because he
joyful.
knows. He sings all the
Wow.
time.
It means he's
It's fine, be joyful. All right, be sure that the quantity with the unit or the label, whatever you want to call it, to be canceled is in the denominator. How's that not making sense? You're going catty quarter. You gotta cancel it.
I still don't do
Quantity
that.
with the unit to be canceled is in. What about the numerator one?
To be canceled, you want to cancel feet and change it to yards. So the one you want canceled needs to be down here. Because to be able to cancel, they have to be diagonal from each other.
But don't you want to cancel the feet?
What does that last part say?
It is canceled.
I know, but you said just the denominator.
No. The one you want canceled, like if it's 28 feet, that goes on top. And then the next one, to go to yards, you don't put yards down here is what it's saying. You put feet. To one that needs to be canceled is put in the denominator. This is why it takes 2 to 3 days
What is that last one? Cancel is what?
in the denominator. It's a good question, chap. I'm just. I'll write bigger. Y'all ready?
Oh no. If you're trying to cancel the feet out, then why wouldn't you get rid of the number as well?
Because you're not canceling out the numbers, you're just canceling out the label. All right, Keith, I got my timer set.
What time is it?
1:37.
Oh wow.
That's why I said it takes forever to get through this chapter. All right, 62 inches to centimeters. Okay. Chap, you're so expressive on your face. You crack me up. Okay. So Sophia, we're setting up our little proportion, our little fraction bar thing. Sophia, what goes on top on the first one?
62 inches.
That's right, 62 inches. What goes on the bottom? 1. We're timesing it. We're going to centimeters. So,
I wanna say it's 100, right? Times.
no, shh. What goes on the bottom? Do I put centimeters or inches on the bottom, chat? Chat.
Inch.
Inches go on the bottom. So what you need to find out is how many centimeters are in 1 inch. Does anyone know?
It's here.
32, right?
2.5.
You're like almost there. 2.54 centimeters.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
it's so specific.
Don't worry about it.
Supposed to get
Okay, first of all, the back of your book has a lot of these conversions for y'all. Okay? Oh, it used to. Also, listen,
Why can't you just give us the chart?
because I just told you, I think your book in the back has a lot of it. Y'all will lose it. The other thing is on your test and quizzes, I'm going to give you things that you actually know, like feet and yards and stuff like that. I'm not going to give you, not going to do that.
Well, I knew it.
All right, so now because they're opposite, these cancel out. You multiply across. Anyone have an answer? Raise your hand, Sophia. Okay.
So one on the last one, so you put like 3 feet that equals 1 yard.
Yes.
You put that on the bottom and then the one on the top. And on this one you put how much this is on the
So we're going from feet to yards. We want to get rid of feet, right? So we put feet on the bottom.
yeah, no, but you put the one that equals on the bottom on that one and then because like 3 feet equal a yard.
3
I see
feet
what you
equals.
said.
On this one you put that 2.54 centimeters on the top.
Okay, are you talking about the 1? Is that what's confusing you?
Yeah, because one.
Okay, so because feet in this case, feet in this case are smaller than a yard. 1 yard equals 3 feet. 1 foot doesn't equal, it equals 1/3 of a yard, right? So however many feet there are with that yard is what you put there. In this case, centimeters are smaller than the inch. So 1 inch is going to equal that. So it's however many. I'll be doing more examples and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not about that 1. It's just however, you always have to have whatever's being canceled out down there. And then it's however many centimeters or inches are in each other.
Why did we put the one on the top on the first one and the one on
That's
the
what
bottom?
she's asking.
Oh.
Because
The star
1
that she
yard
just put there.
equals 3 feet.
Right.
We're going from feet to yards.
Mhm.
So why would I put 1 foot down here? 1 foot,
So-
1/3 of a yard.
So on that one we just did, we're going to go from smaller to bigger. But on this one we're going to go bigger to a smaller, so you reverse it.
Yeah, you reverse that. That's what I'm trying to say. That this time we're going from something big to something smaller. Over here we went from something smaller to something larger.
Thank you, Chad.
That very good.
I remember Miss Luna taught us
Sure.
something about that.
Okay.
I
Very
still
15.
remember what she would say.
Yeah, she said something like we did
For
something.
sure.
It was like
You can stay.
I remember like yeah.
I'll write a note.
Take that, but I appreciate it. Don't tell me
Oh, are you staying?
Yeah, I'll stay.
What's your next class?
Physics, but then Spanish.
Should you go to physics?
Probably, but I'm thinking we're just reviewing everything.
Let me tell.
I just appreciate not telling me anything. Because I sent it to me and Dad figured out.
Okay. Miranda.
How do you know which one to put first? Like in the fraction deals?
Right here,
Yeah, how do you know
the
which,
first thing that's mentioned.
but how do you know what to put on top and bottom?
This always goes on top. This always goes on top. First thing that's mentioned goes on top. And then whatever goes down, what down here is going to be whatever the label is.
And how would you have gotten the summary
Gotten what?
the 2.54?
Well, that's just stuff that we're supposed to already know. But it's in, I believe it's in the back of your book. Okay, let's keep going. Did anyone ever get the answer, by the way?
For what?
Keith, what'd you get?
157.48.
Yep.
Are we ever gonna go number 30? Go over number 30 from yesterday?
Probably in science. All right, let's do another example. This one is going to be unit right. This is going to be unit right. All right, so here we go. 17,000 miles per hour to feet per second.
I have a. I mean, get.
Hold on.
I think I know.
Shh. You're going to write the rate as a unit rate. Okay. Come back if you need to. Okay? Write this as a unit rate. What does unit rate look like? It looks like a fraction. Just like we did before. We have 17,000 on top, miles, and it's miles per hour. So 1 hour goes on the bottom. So it's 17,000 miles per 1 hour. So 17,000 miles per 1 hour. We're changing miles to feet and hours to seconds.
It's just like a wild guess, but
Shh, nope. So then our next fraction, or fraction bar, what do we put down here, Sophia? Miles, hours, feet, seconds, what label goes down here? Miles. We're trying to cancel out the miles. So we're going from mile to feet. So what do y'all think goes up here? Franz?
It's either 24,000 or 25,000.
No. What goes up here? We're going from miles to feet.
Feet.
Feet goes up
Oh,
here.
yeah. I was thinking.
We're going from miles to feet.
Then why wouldn't you put the second at the bottom?
Hold on. How many feet are in a mile? Keith? 5,280 feet are in 1 mile. All right, so we've canceled out our miles. They're across from each other. And we've gotten our feet. But now we got to go to seconds. So here I have hour. And we got to change it to seconds. Matthew, if I have hour down here and I want to cancel it, would I put it up here or down here?
Up there.
on top.
Are you Matthew? Okay, yes, Matthew, you are correct. It goes on top because they have to be diagonal from each other. So then 1 hour, we can change it to minutes or seconds. Does anyone know how many seconds are in 1 hour? Keith?
3600.
So there you go.
I had to actually.
3,600 seconds. So now our hours cross out. And I've got my feet and my seconds. We multiply across. If you have your calculators, Keith,
9,
the final answer, well, he's correct. If you multiply across, you will get this. If you multiply on the bottom, of course, you get this. Then you have to divide. And that's my little wavy lines because Keith is correct. It's 24,933.3 repeating. Could we round that? In the real world, what would we round that to?
You can't round it, then keep going.
25,000.
You can round it to 25,000
Like I'm
feet.
Oh,
per-
maybe like the whole
Yeah.
I got 20. I know about 25,000 feet part only because I read a little bit into the science book.
Okay. All right, Miranda.
Now, how did you get that number where the first equation is?
This right here
Mm-hmm.
multiplied 17,000 with 5,280.
But you crossed it out.
I
That's
didn't.
just the
The numbers. I crossed out the labels because we're going from miles to feet. So I have it on top and bottom so they get canceled out. Hold on, Keith.
Okay.
Yes, Sophia.
Where'd you get this seconds
Right here. Because we're changing it from hours to seconds. And we have 1 hour here. So we have hour up here. There's in 1 hour, there's 3,660, 3,600 seconds. And if you don't know that, let me tell you, right over here, 1 hour equals 60 minutes.
from? What about the 24,930?
Right here?
That's the answer.
Yeah, but how is
Oh,
that?
sorry. That's feet per second.
So you divided that?
Yes. If you multiply across the top, you get this number.
Because you need to have one on the
If you multiply across the bottom, you get this. And then you divide and you get that. And then we round to that.
Divide that long 89
Yep.
number.
Will you always round it?
Yeah. All right, so we're going to stop there. And then tomorrow we will do proportion, and that's going to go real fast. And then we'll do examples. All right, Keith, you can go.
Oh, the lights are on, it said.
That's, hey, Matthew, that's why I spent a couple days on this.
I understood very little of what we were
No, are you first? I think it's like-
Is it serious?
No, not really.
I love this stuff.
You
Look
like
at you.
that?
Yeah, I love this stuff.
Really?
Proportions in this stuff is my favorite stuff.
That's the stupidest stuff I've ever
I did not understand
Can you do- can you have
about
my
that
sign?
last one.
My time's
How the heck did you go from that 24 to that other number?
So what you have to do is you have to multiply
How do you
it.
get your final answer?
Oh, because you have
Because
feet
you
and
have another
seconds.
answer above that.
Multiply 700,000
How do you know what to
times
You have to find the
550.
Okay, and seconds.
I got that.
For 1 second.
But whatever
So you have
whatever
to
you
find
got
1
your,
second.
after you divide it, and then you got your other answer. Your
We
final
rounded.
answer.
We rounded. Oh my gosh, I'm still recording.